Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. In today's episode, I'm going to be looking at Game Week 5 plans, transfer strategy. I'm done with my team. I'm sick of it. My players are all playing badly. No one's scoring points. I've 7 million in rank, and I'm seriously considering a wildcard in Game Week 6. So I take a look at a Game Week 6 wildcard as well. So let's jump into it. So before we take a look at my Game Week 5 plans and have a look at my Game Week 6 wildcard draft, let's just run over my Game Week 4 team. I ended up on 56 points, which meant a rank of 7 million, which was awful. It's not where I want to be at this point in the season. I know we're only 4 game weeks in, but, you know, it's still a very poor place to be at this point. But lots of time to make up. I'm looking to take action moving forward. Blanks from Sanchez and Senesi. I brought Senesi in last week. Actually, I played him ahead of Murillo, and he ended up getting the same points, which was frustrating. I also got clean sheets from Porro and Konza, two of my only returns. Blanks from most of my midfield, Vert, Reinders, Rogers, and Kudus. So none of them could do anything at all but pick up the 3 points. Salah bagged another late return to save captaincy, so it could have been a lot worse if it wasn't for Salah, although he's not exactly looked convincing, well, at least until the Champions League midweek anyway. João Pedro continues to tick along quietly, one of the most consistent attacking assets in the game so far this season. Very happy I started with him. But yeah, Watkins, very disappointing. Another blank. What has happened to Villa? No goals in their first 4 matches at all. Completely shocking. We expect more, don't we, from Aston Villa? So very disappointed in Rodgers and Watkins. In fact, disappointed in Liverpool and Aston Villa assets in general to start the season with. But yeah, that was my Game Week 4 team. Let's now take a look at my Game Week 5 team. So, Game Week 5, this is how I'm currently set up. Sanchez obviously has the away game at Manchester United, which is not ideal. There's not many good teams with clean sheet odds this week. So, I could even consider starting Dubravka. He has Nottingham Forest this week, but I do have Wood. So, playing both him and Wood, I don't know. I'm not too sure. I'm not totally comfortable with that. So, Sanchez is in currently, but that could definitely change. I have a back three basically of Porro, Konza, and Murillo. Porro has the away match to Brighton. So again, you know, there's even doubt there. Will Tottenham keep a clean sheet? The odds don't look great for a Tottenham clean sheet this week, but Porro can, you know, although he hasn't shown it yet, have attacking threat. So, I mean, maybe there's an argument there for to bring Senesi in. But Konza, you know, has the away game to Sunderland. Can Aston Villa keep another clean sheet? They've kept 2 already. They might be struggling in attack, but they are keeping clean sheets. The Konza is in for now, although that could change as well. Murillo did get injured in the recent round, but I think he should be okay this week. We'll listen out and we'll monitor for news. So I am willing to play Murillo this week. He did get DEFCON before getting injured last week. So that was funny, not the injury, but the DEFCONs, because he didn't do it at all in the first 3 weeks. Midfield on paper, again, on paper, it looks good, right? You know, I've got Rodgers up against Sunderland. You know, I've got Kudus up against Brighton away. You know, Brighton have been quite leaky. The Liverpool double up of Salah and Wirtz maybe a sell this week if I don't decide to wildcard, you know. But, you know, Liverpool are at home. They look great in the Champions League. Wirtz did come off early in the Champions League, I think around 20 minutes earlier, which could be good for him. Who knows? He's not been fantastic. He was better against Atleti, but still didn't return. Salah obviously retains captaincy after his late kind of return in game week 4, but he also bagged a goal and an assist against Atleti. So looked fantastic, actually. Looked kind of totally different to how he has been this season. So I'm not going to be taking the captaincy away from Salah. Quite happy with João Pedro away at Man United, who have actually been quite leaky. Watkins away to Sunderland could be where he returns. We don't know. Will Villa score their first Premier League goal? You know, anything could happen. It's the same with Nottingham Forest and Burnley. Igor Jesus did impress in the cup. He got a brace. So whether Ange Postecoglou starts with Jesus instead of Ward, who knows? But you'd imagine Wood starts. So obviously on paper, Burnley's a great fixture, but we don't know what to expect from Nottingham Forest, do we? I don't know what we're going to expect from a lot of these guys this week. I'm slightly on edge that if I don't take action this week, you know, I could have a similar week to last week and go even further down the rank. But I just don't think game week 5 is a good time to wildcard because Haaland's got Arsenal. The fixtures are awkward. And if you look at this team again, on paper it looks quite good. It's just the assets. They just need to start doing points, right? So yeah, I'm super happy with this. I think there's some decisions to be made in defence there, isn't there? You know, I could bring in Senesi. Could I bring in Esteve against Forest? Could I bring in Dubravka ahead of Sanchez? You know, there are debates to be had there. But let's look ahead because I'm not willing to make like too many moves this week. I won't be pressing the wild card this week. But let's look at the fixtures ahead. So, game week 6, is it a good time to use the wild card? Well, the answer is pretty much yes, because if you look at the Fantasy Football Scout fixture ticker on screen from game week 6 to 10, you will notice there are some swings. Obviously, Arsenal are coming out of their tougher period of fixtures now and coming into kind of an easy section of fixtures. And I don't own any Arsenal players at all, whereas I would want, you know, the likes of Raya, Gabriel, Gokarash. There are loads of factors to consider with the game week 6 market. Obviously, Haaland is a big one. You know, being able to bring in someone with his price tag without, you know, taking hits and stuff like that does kind of require a wild card unless you've got loads of transfers banked, which is unlikely considering the start of the season we have had. Everton players as well, another consideration. Not many people have Everton players. You know, the likes of Kieran Dewsbury Hall, you know, Iliman and Diaye. There are you know, a few budget enablers for Everton who could be really good assets going forward. So obviously Tottenham as well, a consideration with Tottenham assets. You know, people don't really want Kudus anymore. He's not impressed that much at all. Is Pedro Porro offering attacking threat at the moment? Not really. Could you go down to Van der Ven and save a few, you know, 0.1s? Maybe. Also selling it, you know, the likes of Florian Wirtz, selling Aston Villa assets. There's so many reasons why you would want a wild card for game week 6, and another one is obviously the bench boost. Like, I haven't used my bench boost just yet, and it does require a little bit of planning, ideally with a wild card. So I think using the wild card ahead of a bench boost, you know, could be really, really ideal to shape in your squad. So should we take a look at a match day 6 wild card draft? So game week 6 wildcard draft, starting in goal, I would probably go for David Raya. Now, Arsenal have great fixtures. They are excellent defensively. They've been excellent, obviously, start of the season in the Premier League, but they also kept one in the Champions League against Athletic Club, just showing they can keep clean sheets against kind of all types of opposition. So the Arsenal defence looking really, really solid. Whereas if you look at goalkeepers like Sanchez is coming into a tough run of fixtures. The 4.5 goalkeepers aren't looking that great either. And I just think Raya gives you an opportunity to double up on a very good Arsenal defence for, you know, not much money. I would still keep Dubravka, obviously one of the only £4 million playing goalkeeper in the game. He could come in handy for those looking to bench boost. Burnley do have a couple of good fixtures coming up in which you could use the bench boost for Dubravka. So far, I think I'd be happy with those two as my goalkeepers in game week 6. So in defence, I've also gone for Gabriel. Obviously, already mentioned that the Arsenal double-up could be really, really good from game week 6 and onwards. Obviously, the Arsenal defence is so good that I do think it's worth doubling up on. Gabriel has shown that he can be an offensive threat as well. So I do really, really like him as an option. Now, also, I like Senesi, a player that I've already got in my original team. Sorry, he's managed more defensive contributions than any other player so far, and Bournemouth have fairly decent fixtures long term. I just think you're looking at a back 4 and maybe even a back 5 long term. I think it could be really good. I mean, in seasons gone by, obviously, I know we've joked about having back 4s and back 5s on a permanent basis, but the introduction of DEFCONs now actually makes that a viable, you know, a viable way to go forward. So I do really like Senesi. I also really like Van der Ven at 4.7 million. He's a route into the Tottenham defence. We saw Van der Ven score in a recent game. Yes, he's not as attacking as Porro across a large amount of time, but he is cheaper. He can be a goal threat as well. So really, really like Van der Ven. I really like the fact that we can still get a Tottenham defence. It's a Tottenham defender in based on their defence so far. It's been so good, hasn't it? So Outside of those two, Tosin could be an outside shout as well for Chelsea. He now seems nailed at centre back for us. You know, he's probably our most important centre back. If anyone's going to get rotated, it'd probably be Chalobah on the left on the right back. Sorry, so. Tosin at 4.5, you can't really get much better. He's not massively achieving on the kind of DEFCON front, but a solid defender that you can keep long term for playing for a fairly good Chelsea side. I think it could be a great option. And that is similar with Chris Rich. It's very cheap, one of the cheapest routes into the Crystal Palace defence. One that's kept three clean sheets so far. He's also averaging around 9 to 10 DEFCONs per match. So, you know, he's doing really well as well. So overall, I really, really like this back line. And I think that could be the way I go. Now, in midfield, Semenyo is a standout straight away if you're wildcarding in Game Week 6. Long term, Bournemouth aren't playing Champions League football or any type of European football. So I think just owning a player who you know will play every single match. Also took a penalty recently. One of the best performing midfielders to start this, you know, at the start of the season and so far. So I just think he feels like a shoe-in if you're wildcarding. I also really like Cole Palmer. Obviously, you can't see Mo Salah in this. I think as soon as you start adding Salah into drafts, it can be difficult to make a fairly balanced team. I mean, you could argue that this team isn't majorly balanced or exactly balanced to how you'd want it, but I still think, you know, going Palmer instead of Salah gives you a little bit more extra money, you know, to do bits and bobs around the rest of the squad. So really like Palmer. 2 goals in 2 since returning from injury. Absolutely pivotal to the Chelsea attack and looks like he's going to have a really, really good season. I also really like NDI. There's a few Everton midfielders that you could go for. Obviously, Kieran and Dewsbury Hall. You could also go for Grealish. But I think NDI, obviously on pens as well. And Everton has started the season really good. I think you could pick any of those midfielders and probably do well. But I really do like the pen taker. You've got the money to get up to NDI, which is good in this draft. Outside of NDI, I've gone for 2 cheap midfielders in Reinders and Caicedo. Now, Caicedo has hit more than 4 points in every single one of his matches. He's already scored 2 goals. He's managed like 40 plus defensive contributions. So he will hit DEFCONs, he will shoot from outside the box, and he will score goals. And that is similar to Reinders, obviously, for City. He's additional coverage for the Manchester City attack, right? So I think you can bring in and out those type of players in and out your squad. You know, you could go for a back 4, could go for a back 5, or you could start the likes of Caicedo and Reinders. But I do really like Caicedo. I think he's going under the radar. He's had a really good start to the season. So that is the midfield in this draft. So Haaland is in, obviously. He is one of the major parts we are building a Game Week 6 wildcard draft. Relentless form at the start of the season has been fantastic. A lot more convincing than Salah, actually, in terms of big chances, goals, and the look of him in terms of captaincy, right? You want someone reliable for captaincy, and Haaland will probably be that, or at least more so than Salah, especially when you consider the good fixtures for Man City long term. Now, obviously, Gyökeres is also in at 9 million. I think he could be a great option. Arsenal look fantastic this season. They look great in the Champions League. They look great in the Premier League. So, and him leading the line and on pans, he just feels like a shoe-in. I find it very difficult to leave Gyökeres out of drafts based on the fixtures and pans. And he's just great, isn't he? He's already scored 3 goals. So I expect him to really punish weaker sides. I've also gone for Thiago Brentford, pan taker. 2 goals so far. Brentford's fixtures are middling, but I do think he could be a great cheap option long term. I do expect Brentford to score goals. We've seen that so far. So that is my attack. A kind of budget option, a kind of higher priced option, and obviously Haaland. I think you could probably change up maybe Thiago, but I do really like him long term. I think he could, you know, chip away and get the odd goal and stuff. And even if you didn't like him, again, you could just kind of go back to a back 4 or go back to a back 5. So yeah, that is my Game Week 6 wildcard draft. So guys, that was my Game Week 5 team reveal and a look at a Game Week 6 wildcard draft that I'm seriously considering. A lot depends on what happens this week. Will Salah continue his Champions League form? Will Vert start to pick up points? Will Aston Villa get better? So yeah, if you did enjoy that video, please remember to like and subscribe. Again, I am closing in very soon on 500 subs, so definitely hit the subscribe button while you're there, and I'll see you guys again soon.